We live, we live. What's up, what's up? Dare to lead your life, y'all. What's up? Happy Juneteenth. What's up, y'all? Happy Juneteenth. Marita here, Dr. Barros. Checking in. Happy Juneteenth. Waiting for my co-host. Hello, Alzinda. How are you? I'm gonna pop my lip gloss, y'all. I'm here with a little bonitinha for my criolinhas. Oh my goodness. We've got a crying child. Meu Deus. Julian! Giselle, Chun. Julian, what happened?
What happened?
Oh my goodness. We're live. Let people know we're live. Y'all, while we wait for Sin City to join me, I found the pink. Well, my daughter gave it back. Giselle gave it back. Y'all, I'm gonna drop the handle for Bonitinha in the chat so you can go check it out. Check her out. Vivi Rodriguez. Today's Juneteenth. You got to drop some dollars in a black-owned business, y'all. So nice. We're here for divine dialogues, perspective of black queens who both happen to be Creoles. Just saying. What's good, y'all? It is hot outside. What a beautiful Juneteenth it is. We are free-ish in this country. But trust and believe the holder of your true freedom lies with you. Not nobody, no system, nothing. Actually, just within. And there goes my co-host. Welcome. Let me see where you at. I've accepted. Wait,
Hey,
she's outside.
I'm outside today.
It is hot out there.
This breeze feels really nice.
Yes, I love the microphone, the pink and white.
Thank you. My little Tupac shirt. I think I'm ready for the day.
I think so. Juneteenth Tupac, we in there.
Right? Yeah. What a day. What a day.
What a day for us to switch it up a bit and start our divine dialogues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've been coming on here for a few rounds every week, every 2 weeks, and we're talking hidden colors. We really enjoyed that review series. But we enjoy more so having conversations with each other, right? And talking about this path of self-actualization. You know, it's a long journey. It's never ending. And we want to just, share because we feel the younger you can activate yourself on that path to self-actualization, the better, not just your outcomes, but the journey, the better you get to live and enjoy that journey, this thing we call life.
Exactly. Yes. I think if I had known certain things when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like my whole life would have been different.
Yeah,
However, still appreciative of the whole journey.
right.
But yeah, the younger you're able to do the work and know certain things about what life is, what it isn't, yeah, the better your path forward, and like you can really start living your purpose a little sooner.
Yeah, and a little clearer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because you've got to embrace the journeys, the peaks, if you will, in the valleys, because the peaks and the valleys. But when you're in those valleys, you're in the darkness. Like, you have to actually forget in order to have to like awaken. So when you
Hmm.
can recognize that, you definitely feel grateful for every part that has created, where we are today and who the version of ourselves that we sit in today.
1,000%. And I realized just this morning, or not even this morning, a couple hours ago, because we've had this discussion about the pivot, uh, maybe last week sometime. And who
Yes.
knew? It's on the date. So it's
Right.
funny how divine synchronicities lead to this divine dialogue that we decided to start.
Yes, yes. We're doing divine dialogues, and I think it's important that we discuss like the why we chose dialogue specifically, because we could be here chatting, we can have discussions, we can debate, we can offer opinions, but the dialogue is really an opportunity to dig deeper, to understand one another's perspective. Um, to understand the perspective of others, because we hope people will start to engage and bring in their 2 cents as well, right? Because all perspectives are important, unique, and contribute in some way. But that dialogue is because Sin City and I, we have a lot in common. It's not everything that we're going to have total agreement in. And I think that's the beauty and the richness of having these conversations, is to share those different perspectives, but in this format of a dialogue is it's healing. It really is healing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a debate. No opinion is better or worse than the other, right? It's
Right.
literally a conversation, an informational, but it's more than a
Exchange.
conversation because it's like an uncovering.
Yes.
So yeah, so like words are important and dialogue. That's I love that word.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then you've got perspectives of Black queens. We identify racially. We have to, because in this world they make you choose your box. We know that we're human and we
Hmm.
have the different shades and all of that stuff. We're human at the end of the day, but in America, you know exactly who you are. And if
Oh,
you don't know, they're going to remind you.
every day. Right. Yeah. And our perspective, like what we've lived through, I think especially come like not only because we have a little more melanin than another person, but we were also like first generation immigrants. So I think our perspectives on things are a little bit different than like second, third generation,
Hmm.
or if you're not as melanated as us. So yeah, this is our perspective, our lived experiences, and then our journey to get to where we are now. And then, yeah, if we could have a dialogue with everybody, let's just share and
Yeah,
understand like that's your story. This is how I went through it. That's how another person went through it. So it would be great to have other perspectives too,
for sure.
of other queens, other kings, whatever
Yes.
you want to
However you
identify as.
identify. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Our queer queens as well. All of that. I think it's important that we also name, because you talked about melanin, we name the privilege we recognize again here. Well, and I think globally too, it would be something that's relatable, but we do, our melanin grants us light skin privilege, and we are conscious of that, and we'll name that when and if relevant. But since you named the melanin, I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Right.
um we'll still keep pulling into hidden truths, some facts from Hidden Colors or other documentaries or literature or any resource, right, that we have that we want to pass on. We're definitely gonna do that. So It's not a total let go. It's just a shift, a
A little
pivot,
pivot,
like you
a
said.
pivot. Yeah.
So I'm going to go on a little tangent here because the pivot. I learned I learned of a new author that I came across in the last couple of weeks. His name is Sean Ginwright. He's a professor, but he wrote a book, and I found it so hilarious because he said that him and his friends, just like you and I, we shoot the shit, we talk, and him and his boys, they have those types of conversations. And he said I was talking to his my friends, and I was telling them I'm gonna write a book, and they were like, "Man, you wrote so many books? Can you write a book that we actually want to read?"
Mm.
And he came out with this book. It's called The Four Pivots. And he talks about the four pivots. He's coming from a social justice frame. And when you're doing social justice work, you're doing self development work, right? You're doing that shadow work if you're really
Right.
doing the work. And so he talks about the four pivots, which include awareness, knowledge, skills, and action. I was like, when you said pivot, I said, I have to share that because I think on a personal note, on a professional note, however you look at it, when you're thinking about moving from a place you are to a place you want to be and you don't know how to get there, some of it's like you might not even know that you want to go there, but there's the universe, right? The things you're attracting is going to actually raise your awareness about this thing. So then you can actually build your knowledge around it. Ask questions. Knowledge building is that pause for you to really be inquisitive, and investigate and prepare. And then it's the skill sets. What tools do you need? What skill sets you need to develop and then take action. And those four steps to the pivot, like those four steps, I should say, will help you make the pivot.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to drop that because that's something new that I'm adopting. And just even having the language for it is helpful because you think like, wait, I've kind of go through. I can see your wheels turning like, oh, that sounds pretty logical. But like when you can name it that way, you can use it as a process.
Yeah, like people think of a failure as a failure, but if you think of the failure as a pivot, like what you were doing wasn't working right, so with awareness, right? So I'd
Yeah.
agree with that. The four like pillars of the pivots,
Yeah,
with
to
yeah,
pivot.
awareness is first. Yeah, so very important to like give tribute to Hidden Colors because that is what brought us together. But
Yes.
the conversation, the dialogue can expand beyond that. But of course, always like referencing that as the foundation because the truths that were hidden are just crazy.
Yeah.
That I loved watching the documentary and going through those steps with you because it really did. I uncovered a lot of things that I was blind to before, that the world is still blind to. So hopefully we did a good job at highlighting what we thought was important from that whole docu series. And then yeah, we can evolve, transform, and like have steer the conversation to something different, and something that's more, like you're offering these breakthrough sessions, so more like breakthrough of like, getting past the hurt, the history, and creating the new story, and like rewriting your own truth. So we know who we are, and now
Hmm.
let's show the world like who we are as a collective. Would be great. And then on a day like today, it's like, come on, we just had to do it.
Yeah, today was the day, and I'm realizing, we're here to share our stories, what it does for people, all good. Really, but really, it's about us having the space to be able to express and just process in real time as we're doing the work. Because what I want to say is that I've realized, even though I think initially last week I spent an entire week with a group of 26 other individuals and our guides, where we did some intensive work on ourselves, self development, shadow work, social justice lens. And it challenged me in a lot of ways. It grew me in a lot of ways. And then it gave me a lot of insights. And one of the things that I came through there with is the awakening. A lot of what we're going to be just talking about in these conversations is not just the awakening, but the maintenance of that awakening in a world full of distractions, full of excuses and reasons not to connect
Right.
deeply within. And I had the epiphany and the realization that it's not my job to awaken anyone, right? So we're not here to try to awaken you through our conversations. We're just sharing the revelations because shoot, we like to converse. I
Let's
don't
keep
know.
it real. We just want to talk.
We want to talk. We want to talk. And we wanted to go far and wide because I think like if there's like a 20-year-old out there who's listening or 25-year-old who is listening and who can be sparked to be like, oh, they can get their awareness from some conversation or clip that we shared, then that's amazing. Because I just wish I would have not only been on the path sooner, because there's a level of consciousness to know that you've got to get on self-actualization path, and I've connected to that since college, but the how to and the different tools or tips to doing the work, the shadow work, that's where we've got to have more of these public conversations, because they this is a hidden, these are hidden conversations that the system does not want us to awaken people to.
Of course. Yeah. And there's this quote. It's like, may your story be somebody else's survival guide. So it's
Exactly.
like, we can continue letting people go through their pain, or we can share our pain, our stories, our perspectives, and then hopefully the other generations, older or younger, because I feel like old people, if you're open to it, you can learn so much from the younger generation. And then the
All
young
the time.
people, they're not ancient dinosaurs. They know what they're talking about. So if
They've
we
got
can
lived
like share
wisdom.
that dialogue between the
Yeah.
generations, then we can all win as a human race,
Race.
right? Because we are all the same. Just you have a little more, I have a little less melanin. You're a little like we just look different, but at the end of the day, like, come on, we have two legs, 2 feet, 2 ears. Like we are all the same.
Yeah, that's
So
the
that
beauty in not being exactly the same,
right, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I do love that I volunteer for this program called the Chica Project, and they're like, why do you want to volunteer and all these things? And I'm like, because I want to be the person that I needed for that person
Yeah.
growing up. So like, if I had somebody like me, not to say
Yes.
that I'm perfect, or somebody like you that could be like, you know
Conscious.
what, you're conscious, you're going through the right path, like mom and dad are immigrants, they don't know, like just to give me that peace of mind that like, all right, I'm not alone here, other people are going through it, especially with like shadow work, because you
Yeah.
mentioned distractions. It is so easy to not want to face that and like watch a TV show or
Yes.
get lost in your phone and play a game, but it's not easy to sit down and like journal your feelings
Right.
or talk about it, like therapy. Why is it so like taboo to see a therapist? Like everybody needs somebody to talk to. So if we can debunk all of that stuff and help somebody else through our dialogues, then like we've already won.
I agree, and I'm like triggered by the word therapy,
Mm-hmm.
because I hear that often, and it's like, oh, it's so easy to do, but there's obviously a great stigma and a lot of barriers to getting to therapy, and it's like not any therapist is gonna work, and not any kind of therapy. So that's the thing. Like we don't educate people that there are different forms and styles of therapy,
Right.
which is going to be the right one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're solely seeking to deal with trauma, and you might be aware of exactly what it is, it might not be the best thing for you to go straight down the narrative piece of like form of therapy. And then I need the healthcare education system to help produce more therapists who look like and have similar lived experiences to the diverse populations in this country. And then I think, yeah, those are my two gripes with the whole therapy thing. Oh, the third one. Where is the group therapies? Like, much of our ancient cultural traditions and ways of connecting and conflict resolution came out of circles, small groups. And it's wild to me, especially when we're dealing with family and family trauma. We want we promote therapy, but we don't talk about group and family therapy. Because how am I going to therapy? How am I the only one going to therapy?
Right.
And the family is broken, but I'm the only one going. Of course, the therapist is going to be on my side. They know my side. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely feel that when we get to therapy, we also want to try to come out of that whiteness lens of how therapy is traditionally done here in this country, because it's not speaking to my spirit. It's not speaking to my soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And then for those people who go to therapy, and they go to that one and it like was the worst experience,
And
like
they're done.
it's an interview process. You
It
really have
is.
to go and find the person who like you can vibe with.
Vibe
Otherwise,
with.
therapy is not going to work. So yeah. So I
Because
mean,
talk
I think
therapy is not for me.
yeah, I feel like if you have a best friend, you don't need therapy. But
If you
even
have a
that,
conscious
yeah,
best
even
friend
that
who's able to
sometimes.
tell you the truth.
Right. Tell you the truth, but also let you know, like, there's a balance of, like, showing you where your shit stinks, but, like, letting you know how great you are, too. So, like, it does come in combination, like, constructive criticism.
It does.
You need
Yeah.
both to reinforce both sides. But,
And you need
yeah.
that discernment when you're that friend to say, like, honey, we passed my pay grade, okay? As your friend, I'm gonna need
Yeah.
you to go
And
find a
there's that.
professional. I'm gonna help you find the professional. You know what I mean?
But I think people just need to talk. And then other like if someone's talking to you, don't go and try to one up them with your story of pain. Like you they just want you to listen.
To
And like
listen.
sometimes just talking it out is all you need and like knowing somebody else heard you. But like a lot of times we just want to be like, oh, that was your trauma, here's my trauma, like trauma dumping back and forth. And it's like, you got two ears. So I always say you need to listen more than you speak. And God did that for a reason.
No, listen, Linda. This is another learning of mine that it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to practice it. You know, if you're a person who is kind of extroverted, you have that sort of like personality. Sometimes you can't even see that your behavior that you're doing that. And so it takes again that self-work for you to be able to see yourself from outside yourself as an observer.
Mm-hmm.
So then you can help, because it's a combination of like command and surrender, because I'm commanding to be a part of this conversation, but I'm surrendering to let you know, to let you have your needs. At the same time, it's our responsibility as individuals to be aware enough to say, like, listen, I'm having a moment. I just need you to listen. Sometimes we can tell people what we need, and then we get upset by the expectations.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? And the more self-aware you are and aware you are of others, the better you're able to help communicate those expectations.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Self awareness. I feel like for me, like being present and the self awareness has been a game changer in my life.
Being
Especially
present.
when you hear something you don't want to hear, it's easy to get triggered. It's easy to
Mm-hmm.
like go down this like spiral and then everything like
Style.
horrible. But it's not easy to listen and then like realize like, hey, maybe they're not talking to me, they're talking to themselves, but I'm the scapegoat. So I've
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of those conversations where I'm like, self awareness. When you know who you are, you know how you show up. And when someone's like, wants to tell you something differently, everybody's a reflection of each other, I believe. So it's like what you are trying to tell me, if I'm not expressing it at this moment in time, but that's what you're seeing, is it your filter? Do you know what I mean? Like, are you
Are
seeing,
you projecting?
yeah, projecting it, right? So
Yeah.
I've noticed I've encountered a lot of that and saved a lot of relationships by not getting mad and then just listening and being like, sure. Because you're never going to change somebody's perspective or opinion of
Yeah.
you by your words. You will by your actions, right? So there's a
And
lot of like, where I think like just being aware of how you show up, being that like observer of yourself, of other
yeah.
people, and then just like total awareness and presence has just saved me, at least in these past few years of my journey, from getting mad, getting angry, getting triggered, like
Yeah.
ruining friendships or whatnot. Like, because you're having a bad day and you said something, I could say something back, or I could just be like, you know what, her energy's off, I can feel that, and then just like,
Yeah. I'm with that. I also would encourage some questions of curiosity, because I think the way you ask things, the tone that you use,
right.
says a lot, and it could just be a question of curiosity. Like, I can't tell if you're projecting that on me or if that's really the case, because if it is, I'm open to the feedback. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a person who gets defensive, that's going to be difficult, you know. And of course, it's not everybody you'll be able to converse with like that. It takes trust and relationship building to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I say ask the question, because listen, you might be in your feelings and your da 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 da, but don't bring that harm over to me. Like,
Right.
that's when you have to have self-care and say, you know what, let me have self-preservation, because I'm not carrying the right energy to be, bringing
Yeah.
it around people. And that's okay too. Like, let's make it okay for people to not be in the right mood. And it's like, it's better you not have a person there just to be there and they're miserable, and let them be out somewhere, especially right now. Like, the weather's hot, everybody's been, indoors. It's time to be outside. But sometimes if someone is just tired, their spirit is, you know, you got to respect some of that, because that's actually self-care. That is being revolutionary, right? Because we've talked about it before, how our parents, their generation, they didn't have the chance to be tired, take a rest, say
Mm.
they can't do it. They had to push through, it's always survival mode.
Right.
Um, they wasn't going to the spa and getting their nails and all that,
Right.
self-care that we pride ourselves on. Um, so we got to know that when we say, no, I'm not going because I'm going to preserve my energy, that's radical love. That's radical self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And no is a full sentence, regardless of how the other person wants to take it. No. And leave it there.
Period.
You don't need no type of nothing. Nothing needs to come out of that.
Justification.
So yeah, I think I grew up. That was like something that I had to learn. Maybe we can go through that. Like your biggest life lesson. Mine was like people pleasing. Well, knowing that no is a full sentence. You don't have to show up for everybody and like overextend yourself, and then pouring from this empty cup, and then getting pissed because you keep showing up. No one shows up for
For
you.
you.
So yeah, so learning that no, I can just say no and keep it moving. And is it being selfish? Sure. But the person who says you're selfish said that because you didn't show up for them. So who's being selfish?
I think it's called self-full, being self-full.
New word, new word.
That's all Iana Van Sant, okay? We can send
Oh,
it to
okay,
everybody.
okay.
It's too. She talks about the art of being self-full, because if I'm not able to have a full cup, if I'm not overflowing, this is where we get it twisted, because we think, oh, we just got to fill our cup. So every day we're depleting the cup, we're coming back and filling the cup, depleting the cup, filling the cup. You can't pour into anybody's cup until you're overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you overflow, now you're able to pour into others without depleting and taking from yourself. I
Right.
have to be self full so I can give to you. If you want to call that selfish, like you said,
Right. Who the person
you looking
thinking
for
like,
some interest in
right.
my presence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I had to, I don't know if you want to share something that like where you are now and where you were. Mine was this people pleasing saying no. So is there something that you have, I guess, kind of outgrown, or where you noticed you were like you had to pivot to?
For sure. I think the people pleasing is probably very cultural, right? Coming from the Cape Verdean culture. Being a
Mm-hmm.
woman growing up in this culture, absolutely people pleasing and having to get over that. But to add a different one, I would say um it's kind of related to what I pinged on for you with your friend if they're having a moment and you just kind of like, oh, let me let them be. I think I've gotten more practice in it professionally, and I'm now bringing it more into my personal, that I'm honest. That like I try not to sugarcoat and say things to be nice or not say something because it's going to hurt somebody's feeling, that I'd rather ask questions of curiosity to gain clarity and know than create a whole narrative in my head that I start like going off of and
Mm.
creating all other kinds of stories and drama. So I just say it and just be honest and frank. And honestly, a lot of people don't like it. Professionally, yeah. Professionally, I've been called troublemaker, table shaker,
Oh wow.
because I feel the bubbling and the triggers in my body, like the physiology. I feel it. I get hot, I stop boiling, and then I just say it. And sometimes because I'm a Sagittarius, the tonality and everything is just like blah, like I just
Oh.
vomit at the mouth. You know what I mean? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning. I learned something this past week that I can share that's going to help me with that, but on a personal level, like especially because if it's people who's close to me that I want to remain in my life, I need us to be able to have open and honest conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
if I have to say something tough and difficult, I believe that if it's a union, a relationship that is to remain in my life, that tough conversation is only going to make us stronger.
Right.
It's going to make us better communicators as individuals, and then it's going to deepen the relationship that we have. And if it cuts the ties, that means that that was our season,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm okay with that too because I want more clarity, because I feel that the way the future is going, AI and spiritual warfare and everything that's happening, there's going to be more deceit. There's going to be more devils showing up as angels,
Mm.
and as much as I can, evita, like avoid that. I want to do that, and sometimes it's just asking the question that nobody wants to ask, or being honest about how you feel,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, a lot of people can't handle the curiosity questions or the criticism, constructive questions.
construct
Yeah, not
exactly.
criticism, but yeah,
Yeah. It's
which
criticism, but it's constructive,
right,
you
yeah,
know,
but the on the other side of that is growth. So if you look at
exactly.
this question as an attack, then
Attack.
you're like you're never going to grow past it. So having that open dialogue, I've had plenty of conversations where I'm asking the questions and the other person's getting loud, and I'm like, where did this turn into an argument? Like, you know what I mean? Like, as soon as you raise your voice here, I've checked out. I'm not
Checking out.
joining you up here. I'm not like I don't have the energy for that. That's where I'm like, okay.
When they go low, honey.
Right.
If we
You
on
know
a
what I
good day, we go high. No, just
Miss
kidding.
Obama.
On a bad day, I'm gonna meet you where you at. Just kidding.
Then there's that. Yeah, I mean,
No,
and every now and then you have to be okay that you did that because it has to come out eventually. So there is no like being perfect. Like, what is perfect? So there's no way that you can always be on that high horse. You do sometimes you just gotta meet them where they're at And that impact is
Just to
sometimes even
remind
more
them.
valuable to the person.
Because listen, I don't care where I go and how much I grow. I'll never forget where I came from. No,
Uh,
no,
but
I'm just
you
kidding.
mentioned like our parents and survival and stuff like that. Like, I feel like I've experienced a lot of trauma from that growing up and whatnot, but leading with this compassion because, like, it's crazy to think that I don't know about your parents, but my parents made a comment that like they hated the month of September. Ah, Missy
Mm.
September, like whatever, because it wasn't rain season and the boats didn't come. So like they would go to sleep
Oh,
hungry, right?
yeah, going
So
to
can
sing
you picture
razão.
like going to sleep hungry? Like I could never imagine because
Yeah,
I always had a dinner, food on my table. Do you know what I mean? So like knowing that their mindset was strictly survival mode and they came here in still survival mode because you have to work, you got to buy a house, you got to like keep up with the Joneses.
right, right, right,
Yeah, so having that like self-awareness, compassion, knowing that like our lives are not the same, you did the best you could, so they started to hold on to and like carry us forward. Now we need to evolve, we need to grow, we need to do things a little bit differently, so we have the luxury of like unplugging and going to a spa day instead
it's
of like
called privilege.
right,
Oh my goodness.
it really
We
is.
have a lot of privilege that we didn't have growing up. Um, which is why I am going to start spelling my name with lowercase letters moving forward
What?
because yes, because man, perception is reality, right? And perception is wild. And there's certain titles and accolades and achievement that this culture of white supremacy deems as successful and better than. Um, and having a doctorate degree is something of privilege, right? Having a higher education or terminal degree brings that privilege, but I don't stand like when you see the doctor and the EDD, it's all uppercase, right? And it does have that thing of like I stand above the other letters. And so again, another revelation for me from last week. And by spelling it with the lowercase, it lets other people know like I have both privileged and marginalized identities. Don't think that just because I got those letters that I've made it and I'm done, I'm it. Like, no.
But what do you? Your whole name is lowercase.
Yes. Yes. Doctor, my first name, my last name is all lowercase. So it's beautiful. I think for those who know will know it doesn't require a whole lot of explanation, but it allows me to live consciously within my body, so I don't get too lost in the hasadidia. Oh, I'm a doctor. Me Jordi Cadaquinho. I'm not. I have my doctorate in education, focused on organizational leadership, and my research focused on stuff related to DEI. But that's my sleeve. That's my area of expertise. But do I know everything in the world? Come on. As
I
any
mean,
wise man knows, you don't know
I
everything.
understand that, right? But at the same time, girl, you put in the work,
I did, and you're gonna
right?
call me Dr. Barrows, but with the visuals and the perception, I'm gonna let you know I'm Dr. Barrows, but I'm still human, just like you, just like anybody else.
Yeah,
And my
right. You
class,
superhuman. No, I'm just kidding.
in my class, that's because I'm a woman. No, just kidding.
Right.
In my class, I'm learning from my students every day, just like they're learning from me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but listen, there was something you said about not being perfect in some days, because like we were joking, those days that I might decide to go low, yo, my activation that day might not have been as on point, you know? Like something might have threw me off because I think that we like to think about certain things like a degree, right? You go to school, you finish, they give you a diploma, if that chapter is closed, you're on to something else. When it comes to self-care, self-actualization, self-awareness, there's no ending to that. There's no arrival point, right? It's continuous and it's every single day.
Right.
And that's where I think we lose. We can't be perfect every day on all, holistically, at least not while you're still living in, you know, poverty, middle, low income. Like, you've got to work. You got, like, there's only 24 hours that they've curated in our day,
Mm-hmm.
because that's time is another construct that man decided to mess with, but we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Not
But
yet.
so it's like, yo, you can, and I'm speaking because for myself, like the fitness, the mental, the spiritual, that activation in all parts, it has to happen every single day, y'all. Every day, every day. And I'm sorry to say, because if you're still trying to figure out the morning routine, you should also have a bedtime routine. It's not just your kids. So it's like, good Lord, how, where? But I think that spiritual connection is the secret sauce, and it's something we don't often talk about. And whenever we talk about spirituality, it's usually talking about religion. So that's gonna have to, I think, be a conversation for another day. But I think the healing, the freedom, let's talk about it, because it's Juneteenth. The freedom that we want to live abundant life, nobody telling you what to do, when to wake up, and how to do things. All of that we have control over, because it's all from within. Truly being free is not money. There was something I was listening to today that just hit me like, it was saying how spirituality is the true wealth, because you get wealth in spirituality before it even materializes. So don't chase the money, don't chase the bag, chase your spirit, chase your soul, listen to your heart.
Right. And then I feel like it's only in America where like wealth is equals money. But like abundance isn't only in money. Like, are you healthy? Do you
You
have
know what?
friends? Do you have food in your refrigerator? So like our whole definition of like wealth and freedom needs to be like rewritten and just like redefined, because just because you don't have $1 million doesn't mean like, yeah, I believe spirituality is the biggest form of wealth, because if you're not happy, you're not comfortable with you,
Yeah.
um if you don't like believe that like you are God, like you're co-creating this world, so
Yes,
it's
you have
like,
free will to do
yeah,
so.
right. I
So
have
y'all
this shirt.
fucking it up.
Mm-hmm. I have, I have this shirt that says freedom is a state of mind.
That's right.
Right. So it's like, like if we think about our, not like, well, yeah, our great 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 ancestors who were slaves in America and beyond, because of other countries had slaves. Um, they
Slaves, indentured
and then
servants,
yeah,
you
all of the
know.
things, like how could they still be so happy and like still dance and still laugh and all of these things, right? So their wealth wasn't because or their
Of
idea of
people.
wealth wasn't the money, it wasn't the work they had to do, it was their family. So they got like very very base level, like, are, can we eat, are we together, do you know what I mean, like is the
Yeah,
family
it's
good,
a
healthy,
way of living and a way of being,
right?
thinking.
Yeah, not to say that they should have stayed in slavery, that's a different topic for a different day,
Another
but
day,
still it is like in your, you can be still enslaved or you can be free in the same situation depending on like
your
your
state of
mind.
mind,
Yeah.
because it's about vibrations and energy, right? And self-love and self-belief. And those are the things that hopefully we'll continue to talk about in these divine dialogues, y'all, because that self-talk is critical. Even understanding the functions of your mind, um, your thoughts, your feelings, right? How the breath connects it's a bridge for your mind and your heart. But a lot of us are not even breathing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
taking a minute to pause, taking a deep
Right.
breath. Um, it's a lot, and a lot of us are looking outward, right, instead of looking inward. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that is intentional. We know that because in order for the structures that we live here in American in white supremacy, you have to have that capitalist type of
Yeah, you need consumers to buy
yeah.
your shit.
Yeah, you need consumers, and then you need people to not be awakened. Let's be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah,
right?
I need you to think that you're ugly and to think that you're this, so you buy my makeup, so you come and do Botox for me, so you come, you know what I mean? So, like, they
Yeah.
really need you to not be aware, to not love yourself, to look externally, do the drugs, because then you come and do rehab. Like, so
And you're
it's
not
all.
present. You're not present, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to escape versus escaping within. Which
Yeah.
going within is not an escape. It's a deeper. It's having a clearer understanding, so that when you're out here in this external world, you know what is meaningful, what deserves your time and energy. Um, and the quality of energy you're bringing into the spaces that you're going to.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that we all should be responsible of that because nobody is a better accountability partner to yourself than you.
This is
You know?
true. Yeah, and like you made that comment about time or whatever. But like by doing that inner work, you're like healing like the past and the future. Like your whole DNA structure is just like up leveling, upgrading. This so-called junk DNA, it's not junk DNA. It is pieces of you that can be unlocked, like consciousness and all of these things. So by like going internal, you are doing a lot of the work, for like the past, the future, and then sometimes you can't even tell anybody anything. Like actions speak louder than words. So
Yeah.
you can't point out you haven't healed yet, and it's like, but have you healed? So like when you do that inner work, you're showing the other person like what does a healed
Yes.
person look like.
Embody it before you try to teach it.
You took the
That
words
was
right
that
out
was
of my
another
mouth.
one I got this week. I got so many gems this week. I'm telling you, it's gonna keep dropping. I'm not even gonna because we only got 10 minutes left. I'm not even gonna go into. But next time we meet, I want to talk about panning. It's a strategy that's gonna help us check ourselves. Let me tell
Mm,
you, because we are human. We are gonna judge. We love to judge. And
it's
Creole
easy.
Cape Verdeans, I don't know if Latinos are like this too, but Cape Verdeans will literally go sit by a park and watch people and judge people. Like, okay, which is fine, do that, but don't impress your judgments on other people because we're humans. I'm not judging you for judging. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to suspend that judgment, right? You've got to really question yourself. Am I this story that I'm telling myself, is that the truth, or is that something that somebody fed to me that I just think is the truth and I've never interrogated it before?
This is true.
You know?
Yeah, there's so many layers.
So many
We're gonna try
layers.
to unpeel them all
And
throughout each
all the time,
dialogue,
forever and ever.
right? And inviting more people for their perspectives to help us unpeel. But yeah, there's a lot to become like the best version of you,
Of
and it's
you.
never over.
In
Um,
different, exactly, because I was going to say in different iterations because
Because in this
life goes
season,
on.
you can be there, something happens, so you have to like upgrade and then get to the next season where you just keep getting better and better. And that's really the point of why we're here. So can we leave the world better than we found it?
Absolutely. Especially
The
if I'm
inner
leaving
world
children in
and the
this world. We got to
mm-hmm.
make it better than when I came in because I didn't have to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, there was I had done this full moon thing. This was like last summer, and this woman read this quote from a Native American. It was like translated, so whatever. May not be the exact words, but it stuck with me. I loved it, and it was basically along the lines that we are not. borrowing. Oh no, we don't inherit the earth from like our parents or whatever. We're borrowing it from our children. So when you realize that like you are here borrowing all of the goods from your kids,
Yeah,
that's when you realize like, oh my gosh, they need to know everything that I know to leave everything better and like just keep we're just borrowing it from the future generations. So
that's
that was
right.
like a beautiful quote. And
Yeah,
that's
so
how
you
they lived, and
give
then
value.
yeah, right, a great value to live by.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question before we wind down. Because we've been talking all about self-care and all this stuff and routines. Um, what is one practice or routine that you do in the morning that you can share? What practice?
Um
Or
yeah,
before you go to bed?
Yeah, so my you made that comment about the night routine. You're right. We do need a night routine. Not just your kids need to go to bed at 8 o'clock every night. I don't have a good night routine. I'll like watch TV and the next thing you or like play a game on my phone. Next thing you know, it's midnight, and I'm like, oh man, this is why you wake up tired, girl. Whatever. We'll talk about that one later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
my morning routine that I've like incorporated different things, but this one that stuck with me that I have to do it regardless if I'm like running late. So the amount of time I do it for is different, but it's meditate. And it's
Mm,
not everybody meditates differently.
yeah.
So the way that I do it or view it is just by like sitting in silence. So like it's not yeah, whatever. Everybody does it differently. But for me, I need 5, 10, maybe 15 if I'm like, I have the time. I did really good with waking up early to just sit in a state of me. So,
Yeah.
like, for me, thoughts will come and I address them. I'm like, hello, thought. And I don't like think about it more. I just sit and like, sometimes I'll sit in gratitude, think of everything that I'm grateful for. But just to like sit in that peace, in the presence, it has been a game changer that when I don't meditate, because I have had days where like I'm in a rush, I don't do it. That's like my little bit of self care. Yo, I'm triggered. I don't have time for the bullshit. I'm just like, gotta go, go, go. So it has like literally, and it's been known, science says it does change like the
Yeah.
gray matter in your brain. So it does do something physically to you. But I've noticed that I'm just more peaceful, more present. So yeah, so I cannot not meditate in the morning. And that's just to sit in silence, not even like whatever comes up, but then go back to your core into the silence.
Yeah, like I like that you suspend any judgment or put any value to any thoughts and you just like let them go. I would just encourage you to focus on your breath. It's a great
Yeah,
way
I
to,
don't do that. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, if you disrupt the thinking by just going back to the breath. And then when you're taking those deep breaths, so one style of breathing that I thought has really helped me in meditation is to take 4 breaths in, hold for 4 breaths, and then release 4 breaths.
Hmm.
But whenever you can just focus on, am I breathing correctly?
Right.
It helps like strengthen those. Um, because I have a hard time. I love that you're actually getting up and sitting. I've had a hard time. What I've been doing is taking like a mindful moment. So I'm not calling it a full out meditation, but I'm in the bed, like I've awakened, but I'm laying down and my eyes are closed and I'm just breathing. I'm saying gratitude. I'm going through my couple of prayers that I have memorized, random scriptures that serve me. And then what I do actually is I put one hand on the heart and I put one hand on my womb, because the strength of a woman is strongest in her womb, and it makes sense because that's where we birth life. Um, but I think about the highest. emotion that taps into my highest vibrations, and I pull from my um, womb up to my heart. For me, it's always either gratitude or joy, you know, to say that, like, this is what we're feeling this morning. I'm not even asking myself, how am I feeling? I'm telling myself, this is how we're feeling. This is how we're going into the world. And then to break my scrolling habit, addiction,
Mm-hmm.
just call it that, I've been creating a spirituality playlist, and I'll play something that reminds me of my being chosen, my abundant life, just to fill me up before all the distractions, all the negativities try to come in. That's been my morning
I love that.
routine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I have to sit up because if I am in that, if I just wake up and I do it lying down, yo, I'm falling asleep
you
again.
falling back asleep.
Right?
Yes,
So for me, yeah, but you can meditate like in the shower. Everybody's differently. Um, so yeah, I think it's just taking those couple minutes to you to breathe, to center, to like just be at peace. And
yeah,
yeah, like tell your body we're moving in gratitude today. So I love that you tell it. You don't ask how it's feeling right now. You say we're
yeah.
feeling this. Do you agree?
And you know what I want to incorporate, because the physiology. This is that what's his name? Tony Robbins
Mm-hmm.
science to it. It coming into, like, before I come to sit down at this desk, I'm gonna throw on a jam and I'm just gonna have a dance party. I'm gonna shake
Mm.
that energy, move that energy, okay? And if it's like after lunch and I had a big lunch, like now I'm in that lunch slump, this is what I'm gonna do. Like,
30-second
because
dance party. I love having
yes,
those.
change the physiology so you can
Uh-huh.
shift your energy, because you have the control over that and you choose whether or not you allow your emotions to dictate how you show up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love having I haven't done that in a while. I used to have dance parties in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, you leave the house just like happy.
You lit. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. This is great. I love,
Yeah.
yeah, I just love getting new tips, sharing tips. So this is
Yeah.
amazing. I'm glad that we're here,
Amazing.
our perspective of it. Do you have anything you want to share that's going on this week? Where can we find more of you?
Yeah, for sure. Continue to follow me here on Instagram. Check out my YouTube page. It's a developing page, y'all. I'm trying to find my voice and see where I land. We're just gonna let it be organic and get to where it's getting. I shared before, when I was waiting for you, I was putting on my Benitinha lip gloss that I'm so in love with right
Oh,
now.
that's awesome.
And I see Vivi here. I'm gonna actually drop her handle because I want y'all to check her out, Kriala. Um, Putting out this beautiful brand. What I love about it is not obviously because I'll do that after it. The lip gloss is amazing. It's all natural ingredients, but the empowerment that she writes on the boxes, like, she's trying to love you in and out, having your beauty
Hmm.
shine from in and out. So shout
Is
out
it
to
local?
her. She's local, Vivi Rodriguez. She actually had joined our live here, so check her out, and then check out the Bnitinha page so you can get to the products.
Oh, cool.
Um, but y'all, one more thing I just want to shout out is Empress Dance Company. I'll be continuing to promote until the show next Saturday. I'm so excited. My niece has been running her dance program for over 10 years, and she's telling her story, mental health triumphs, and continued courage on her journey as she's uplifting young queens, young empresses. My daughter being one of them, but I'm so excited because her show is going down on the 29th. It's going to be at the YMCA in Stoughton from 12 to 4. Y'all come out, grab your tickets. I'll also have that being promoted on my stories. So that's
Oh,
that's
that's
what
awesome.
I'd love to share today. How about
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, so I feel like, so I had a very, not a troubling week, but a tough week last week. One chapter is closing, but like, div- there is a divine power. So learning how to pivot, is has been like the theme for these
Awareness,
past 2 weeks for me, right?
knowledge,
Even in life.
skills.
So yeah, so I had an empowering meeting this morning with this beautiful soul. Her name is Laura. She's out in Holliston, so it's a little bit of a hike, but I'll be working with her a couple days a month out of her studio. It's a salt chamber. Yeah, so just looking to bring some amazing programming there. I'll be doing some Reiki, I'll be doing some nutritional counseling. So rather than like just doing things online, I have a home now to share
Yeah.
and host in that aspect. So I'm also working to revamp my YouTube page, and just
Yes.
share more of me because I've been in this shadow phase. So now it's time to bloom to
She's
blossom.
coming out.
Oh,
She wants the world
girl!
to know.
Right. So yeah, I think everything happens when it's supposed to happen.
That's
Nothing's a
right.
mistake. I've learned so many lessons and grown throughout all of like my trials and tribulations. So now I'm ready for the triumphs.
Let's go. Let's go. We winning out here.
Right.
We just want to be in our authentic, selves, y'all. So that's why we're here. We switch it up. Divine Dialogues. You with us? You with us? You not? You catch us on the replay.
Yeah. But join us next week.
We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 2 weeks.
Yes.
Right.
Enjoy Juneteenth. Keep educating, elevating yourself. And what do we do after we educate and elevate?
We guide and align. Yes, mind, body, soul. Let's go. This has been great. I love you, girl.
Love you too, boo. Enjoy it out there. On to the next one, and we'll see y'all soon.
All
Have a great
right.
one.
Bye.
Ciao.